The Premier League started, and yesterday was the biggest match of match day one. It was Arsenal take on Manchester United. Everybody knows how big this match goes. Arsenal, when they take on Manchester United, it becomes a very heavyweight contest. Last season, Manchester United were bad. Everyone knew how bad they were. And Arsenal were very good last season. They couldn't win the league because Liverpool was too good. But we also have to know that in case of Arsenal, they came second 3 seasons straight. Manchester United was 16th last season. That was just 2 spots above relegation. And going into this game, the first game of the season, we expected a draw. I personally expected a draw because I thought that in the first game you don't want to go ahead and play a very expressive kind of football where you concede many goals and you score many goals. So you try and play deep depth football. That's I think what both of the team did. Into the game, Manchester United in the first 30 minutes, we are so good on the ball. They didn't allow Arsenal to take any momentum. Cunha, first of all, we had to talk about Matheus Cunha. What a signing. He is number 10 for Manchester United. I think he's going to be a revelation for them this season, because if we look at him when he was at Wolves, everybody thought it's a Lamborghini in a graveyard. That's how it looked like when Matheus Cunha played at Wolves, because Wolves was 16th last season. There were no good players. Obviously, they had good strike. They had Stan Larsen, they had Ait Nouri, but that didn't make Matheus Cunha in a good position. Now, everybody expected Cunha to land a big club. He did. Now, his performance in this first match is incredible. Incredible performance. The way he judged the ball, the way he grabbed the ball in the midfield, and every run that he took created problem for that Arsenal's defense. But eventually Arsenal scored, and everyone knows how good Arsenal's corner routine is. They score goals from corners. They scored 15 goals from corners last season and set pieces last season. This season they started. It was a new goalkeeper for Manchester United who committed a mistake, but it was Arsenal's corner which resulted in the goal, and it was Calafiori who scored. And going 1-0 up, everybody thought the way Manchester United was playing, they would eventually equalize. But they didn't. For the rest of the 90 minutes, they got dozens of chances. They were not able to equalize throughout the game. Now, for Manchester United fan, I'm not a Manchester United fan, but if you are a Manchester United fan, there are a lot of negatives to take from the game. But there are double the positives that they can take forward. Now, I will count you the positives. First is Matthijs de Ligt. Everyone knows how good he is on the ball, how good he is, in winning headers, in clearances, in ground tackles, everything. But in the last 2 or 3 seasons, he was a bit overshadowed and he was a bit, gunned off. But yesterday, he literally showed everyone how good he is. He showed everyone. Now, in case he was so good with the defense, another positive that Manchester United can take, obviously Matheus Cunha is there. He was such a great player on the pitch yesterday. But Mbemba was very good yesterday. He was very bright. Bruno Fernandes is always was pretty bright on the pitch, I think. And obviously there is one name that for me was the best on the pitch after Matheus Cunha. It was Dogu. He was very good. He was absolutely violating that wing and making no runs on the wide side of the pitch, and that is where Arsenal, and I think it was really about finishing. If they had good finisher and if they had started Šeško, I think they would have scored, because they got their chance in the box. There was no one in the box. So I think not starting Šeško might have been a mistake. In case of Arsenal can take a lot of positives again from the game. A very good solid defense from William Saliba, Ben White and Timber and Gabriel. They're the stock defense, and a very good midfield. Odegaard was looking very good yesterday. Rice was a bit overshadowed, but I think Rice, he didn't get the ball that much. Rice, if I'm talking about. Saka also did not look that good. And the worst player on the pitch for me was Victor Gyökeres. Before he came to Arsenal, I knew he was in the Portuguese, scored 68 times last season, but that was Portuguese league. This is the Premier League. This is the best league in the world. You won't get the time to receive the ball first touch and then score. You have to be quick, and I think that was the first game for Victor Gyökeres in the Premier League. This is where he saw the intensity. He was subbed off, but he was horrible. He didn't do anything. He didn't have a single shot on target. He had 9 passes and 4 of them were misplaced. So that's how bad he was. But again, this is the first game you are going in the Premier League where you know that intensity is very high. So I think that was just a test for him. Next game will be a real test for him if he will score or if he will play good. That we will see. Another positive for Arsenal, I think, was Miles Lewis Kelly. He also was pretty good, but I think he wasn't on his best. But I think he was still very good one. Now going into the match day 2, for I think United, they can go here to here, or they can stay here. They're not going here because they're not United 23-24 or 24-25. They're 25-20. They have a very, very good team. I rate United very high this season. I think on a personal level, if I comment about their team, I think Matheus Cunha, Brian Mbemo, and Šeško, these three sons, and if they sign Baleba from Brighton, this is gonna be a very strong team. First game against Arsenal, it's a very strong defense. They violated their defense. They were not able to finish, but they were good on the pitch. They were very bright on the pitch, and this brightness was not seen last season. For the last 2 seasons, I was very happy to see Manchester United play like Manchester United yesterday. They lost the game eventually, but I think they played very good. And if I was a Manchester United fan, I would be happy because I think I would take a lot of positives from this game going forward. And there is one positive for the Manchester United team, which maybe Arsenal doesn't have, Liverpool, and that is no European football. You don't have Champions League, you don't have Europa League, you don't have Conference. You just have to focus on domestic English Cup. That is, you have to focus on Premier League, Carabao Cup, and the FA Cup, which aren't that much of a problem because you don't have to travel a lot. You don't have to leave the country. You don't have to leave the place. You have to play in England, and that is where Manchester United has a very big positive, and that is where they can play their second team. That's where they can play their other players and give them chances. Now, there is also a very deep discussion about Alejandro Garnacho if he's going to Chelsea. But if he is staying in Manchester United, I don't see a good place for. I don't see him fitting in Amorim's system if Šeško, Mbemo, and Cunha start, because obviously they are gonna start. So there is no place for Garnacho. I think that, and that is clarity. Another player that was bright yesterday was Mason Mount. He was very, very good on pitch. And I think United for me this season is very, very far more better than they were last season. And for Arsenal, it is just the same thing. You have to keep the consistency. Eventually, when they keep the consistency, they still bottle it. So you have to be consistent. You have to trust yourselves. I think if Arsenal don't win a trophy, they don't win a silverware this season, Mikel Arteta gets sacked. And he should have been sacked last season. According to me, he should have been sacked 2 seasons before. But somehow Arsenal management trusts him.